Welcome to Math with Beth. No. Okay. We are doing factoring with grouping. If you have been trying to do the AC method and you're getting stuck, it might be because of the grouping. So make sure you're okay with factoring with grouping before you try the AC method for the trinomials. So grouping is when you have four different terms and there's nothing you can take out of any of them. I mean, all four together. So you're going to split it into these two groups and hopefully things will match up once you do that. So what can I take out of these first two? So this is using the GCF, the greatest common factor. I can take out a 2, and since this has x to the third and this has x to the second, I can take out x to the second because you can always take out the lesser amount of variables. So what would that leave me with? Because that means divide. If I divided this by 2x to the second, I would get 6x. If I divided 2x to the second by itself, some people mess up and think that means nothing is left, but it's always a 1, right? Because when you divide something by itself, you get 1. Over here, the 30x and the 5, I can take out a positive 5. That would leave me with a 6x plus 1. That's what you want to happen. When these two parentheses match, you're good to go. Your final answer is going to be one of those parentheses. The reason why is because it's like we're factoring that out of both things. So one of those parentheses comes out and you're left with what was in front of each one together in that second parenthesis. Let's try it again. So for the next one, I'm going to split this up into these two groups. I'm going to take out as much as I can here, the GCF. So that would be 5 and x to the second. That would leave me with 5x plus 1. Here I could take out only the positive 6, but that makes my two parentheses match. That's what we want. So the final answer is that parenthesis and then what was in front of each one. Done. This one's going to be a tiny bit different because of the negative, so be careful. Maybe watch me do this one before you try the next one. The most I could take out of 28 and 16, be careful. A lot of people would maybe say 2, but you want to take out the most. So make sure you see you could take out a 4 and x squared. That would leave you with 7x plus 4. Between the 21x and the 12, all I could take out is 3. But if I took out a positive 3, do you see that that would leave me with these as negatives inside the parenthesis? And so my two parentheses would not match. So if I already know what I'm heading towards, I would like the parenthesis over here to match 7x plus 4. That would mean instead of taking out a 3, I should take out a negative 3 to change the sign. So taking out a negative 3 would change this to 7x plus 4, and then they would match. So I've done this a lot, so I'm looking ahead. If you're not looking ahead at first, that's okay. Just if you ever end up with parentheses where they have the exact opposite signs, the way you fix that is take out a negative with the number so that those will change and then they match. So this one, final answer, 7x plus 4 times 4x squared minus 3. Okay, maybe pause and try the next one before I do. If I take out the greatest common factor, that would be 3x. That would leave me with 4x plus 1. Same idea here. I don't want these negatives to still be there. So even though there's nothing I can take out, which means I'm going to just put a 1 out front, instead of a plus 1, I'm going to put a minus 1 to change the signs. So that would become positive 4x plus 1, which is what I want. So again, if there's nothing that you can take out, always put at least a plus 1 out here. But in this case, I wanted to also change the signs, so I put a minus 1. Final answer, 4x plus 1, 3x minus 1. That is basically it, but be careful because just like always, you need to make sure you still look for the GCF first. So don't miss, just because it's set up like grouping, that all four of these actually do have a common factor. So before I do anything, I'm going to take that out of all four terms. So do you see that all four of these could be divided by 2? So I'm going to start by taking out a 2 from everything. Then I'm going to look at what I have left. Okay, this still looks like something I need to do grouping with, so I'm going to ignore that 2 for a second, and I'm going to do the grouping, and then I'm just going to make sure to remember that 2 needs to go out front at the very end. So what could I take out of these two terms? Only an x. What could I take out of these two terms? Nothing. So let me check the signs. I like the way the signs are because they match what I have. So all I need to write in front to make sure I'm not confused in the next step is a +1. So again, if nothing can come out, just write a +1 out front. If nothing can come out, but you want to change the signs, then write a -1 out front. So in this case, +1 because I'm fine with the signs the way they are. Now my parentheses match. So my final answer is one set of the parenthesis and then the x +1. But in this case, I took that 2 out of the very beginning. So don't forget that it should be in front of those factors for your final answer. Okay, that is factoring with grouping. Now maybe go try the factoring the trinomials with a greater than 1 again, because it should be easier now that you've practiced some grouping. See you next time.